Welcome to Walpole Five-0. I'm Chief John Carmichael. Today is December 19th, 2017. And before we get into the log, I want to mention a couple of things. The first thing is, on behalf of the Walpole Police Department, I want to thank everybody who participated and helped out Dispatcher Jeff Abatey, who's also a special police officer here in the department, who recently lost his wife. And we recently had a fundraiser for him. And it was really great to see the amount of support and the amount of people that came out to support Jeff and his family. We really appreciate that. You know, he's always the guy who is working in dispatch and helping others and helping other people in emergency situations. And, you know, he's a great family man. He's a friend to a lot of the guys around here and girls. And we really appreciate everybody that came out for Jeff in support of him. So thank you very much for that. On yesterday, myself, Deputy Chief McKenzie, Sergeant O'Connell, Officer O'Connor, and I think Officer Hart was there. We went over, we did a presentation for our seniors at the Senior Center, and it was a great turnout, so I want to thank all of our seniors who came out, most of who watch Walpole Five-0. And so we really appreciate that. I want to thank Kerry McManama, who had us come over there, and basically what we did is just provide a presentation of what your police department does, what the Walpole Police Department does as far as types of calls, the trends in calls that we have, and also our community policing efforts and our programs. And it was a great turnout. We really appreciate everybody coming out, and we do appreciate our partnership that we have with our seniors. So I think that was a great turnout, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as we did, so thank you. Positive tickets. This week we had Carissa and Alexandra, who were caught spreading Christmas cheer throughout Walpole. Pretty cool thing. What they were doing is they were walking around neighborhoods and looking at Christmas lights, and when they found, they kind of did like a little vote between themselves and a couple of their cousins, and when they found a home that was really lit up with all the different Christmas decorations and lights, they'd go back and they would leave a treat and a note at the door with the family, letting them know that they really liked their lights and that they enjoyed them. And so we thought that was a great thing, good positive cheer for the community. And so as a result, we gave Carissa and Alexandra some movie passes and a positive ticket. So thank you very much, guys. That's a great thing that you did. I want to mention old Kaylee. You probably remember Kaylee was the 4-year-old girl who became one of our community heroes recently, because what she did was she went into a home down at Golden Opportunities for Independence, and she found somebody in distress who was having a medical emergency. And as a result, in having conversations with her mom and dad, she knew that something was wrong, and she ran out of the house and went to where her parents were and alerted them that somebody was suffering from a medical emergency. They were able to call 911. This was a true emergency. And the first responders, police and fire, were able to get there and help that person out that was in distress. And if she hadn't done that, this could have had some different circumstances, but pretty amazing that a 4-year-old girl did that. We did recognize her with positive tickets, and when we did that, it also kind of picked up some media attention. And as a result, as follow-up, we were notified by the Boston Celtics to have Kaylee and her family come to a Boston Celtics game. I think it's on Christmas Day, actually, and they are going to participate, have some good seats, get to watch the Celtics game, and they're going to mention Kaylee up on the Jumbotron, show some pictures, and she's even going to get a chance to go out on the court and meet some of the players. So that is well-deserved, and we're very happy for Kaylee and her family, and we hope you guys have a great time with that. Also, we appreciate the Celtics for even picking up on something like that right here in Walpole and inviting the family in to see a game. And they are something to watch right now, so that should be exciting for them. So getting into our log and going back to December 11th, report of a fire. Turns out this was up at the Preserve Complex, Building 10. And fortunately, it was not a fire. Turns out that it was some cooking instruments that were setting off some smoke that were coming out one of the windows up there, and we do appreciate the people that call for that. Glad it wasn't an actual fire, but that we did respond up to that. December 12th, there was a larceny. There was an individual from Boston who reported that they had $1,100 stolen from them while they were working at a business on Route 1. It was stolen from the break room area, and as a result, Officer Crown, he's been able to obtain a list of people that had access to that area, and this is still under investigation by the detective unit. Sexual assault, detectives reported that they received a report of an investigation involving a past sexual assault that occurred, and they are investigating that. Violation of a protection order, individual was arrested by Officer Crown after they violated a protection order and placed under arrest for that. Keeping the peace, Officer Wilmot responded to location Sector 3, which is West Walpole, at a business. There was an individual there that was going to have to terminate an employee. They were a little bit concerned with this person, so Officer Wilmot went down there and he stood by, helped out, and kept the peace while everything was taken care of. Mutual aid, Norwood PD requested assistance with a crash that occurred in their town. Our officers went over there at a mutual aid and assisted them with that crash and diverting traffic away from the scene. Community policing, Officer Pergicante and other officers attended the Christmas celebrations at Longview Farm, the Home for Little Wanderers. He also attended a hockey game that night up at Rodman. Appreciate the officers always doing that. We just met with Longview and the Home for Little Wanderers staff again yesterday, like we do every couple months or so. And we recognize that Leslie Suggs is now going to be the new president and CEO of the Home for Little Wanderers. She's got a very good relationship with us here at Walpole PD, and we look forward to her new staff and her new leadership down there to work with us and helping address any issues at the Home for Little Wanderers, but also becoming a great partner. So we're looking forward to that, and congratulations to Leslie. On December 14th, there was a drug arrest. It was a result of an ongoing investigation by Walpole PD detectives as well as NORPAC, which is the Norfolk County Police Anti-Crime Task Force. And the units conducted a search warrant following a somewhat of a lengthy investigation. They ended up doing a search warrant on an individual's motor vehicle. This individual was from Dedham, and as a result, they were able to recover an amount of cocaine. That individual was also charged with that. Emotionally disturbed person, individual in Sector 3. They were standing in traffic, having a difficult time. Officers went down there, were able to de-escalate that situation and seek a section voluntarily to go to the hospital to get an evaluation. Threats, individual from Norwood. We went into a restaurant in town. It turns out that this individual was not a happy customer. They got the wrong food order, and as a result of that, they started to cause a significant disturbance inside of the restaurant. A short time later, we got a second call for that same individual and who had threatened staff and with a firearm. Did not show a firearm or brandish a firearm. However, they did threaten people there with the threat to use a firearm, and as a result, Officer Moriarty identified that person. Will be charging them with threats to commit a crime. A summons, Officer Giblin is going to summons an individual for operating a motor vehicle after suspension. This was following a motor vehicle stop on the midnight shift. As I go through this, I'm hoping we're not keeping the trend of driving without a license. We had a lot of those last week for some reason, so so far we're right on schedule though. December 15th, keeping the peace, Officer Wilmot went to another location, business in town. It was a civil matter taking place regarding a sale of a motor vehicle. He stayed there, helped till that transaction was complete, and kept the peace. I've just put these in there because that's a lot of what we do is, you know, one of our functions is keeping the peace and de-escalating situations or preventing things from happening. So I put those in here. Well-being check, individual was in the lobby. They were concerned for their family members' well-being. There was issues with custody and visitation. As a result, there's started an investigation, and we did determine that it appeared to be that there could be some child abuse or child neglect involved. We notified Department of Children and Families, or DCF. Officers Thayer and Lagoa went down, and they spoke to everybody involved with this situation. All seem to be okay, but as a result, as mandated reporters, we do still notify DCF to get involved with it, and they can continue to follow up. A disturbance, it was a loud argument reported on Main Street. There was a physical altercation also that took place following that argument, and there's the 3 individuals, 2 were related, that were against this other person, and as a result, the argument became physical when there was an assault and battery that took place. However, neither party did not want to press charges or pursue this any further, so Officer Legault was able to separate each individual and restore peace there as a result. I'd be on the lookout at Bolo. Officer Giblin was flagged down by an individual who was concerned for their daughter's well-being, who's a teenager. She apparently was supposedly going to sleep over a friend's house, but was picked up by several individuals on another motor vehicle willingly. And as a result, we started a search in Walpole as well as Norwood to help her locate that individual. And we were not able to locate her. However, a short time later, she did return home on her own. So we're glad that that happened. On December 16th, there was a larceny of a motor vehicle, a stolen car, reported at a Route 1 restaurant. This vehicle, the caller, when they went into the restaurant, they left the vehicle running. And as a result, an individual jumped into that vehicle and stole it. This is the second time that's happened in the past couple of weeks on Route 1. The last one was an individual who went into a package store, and that vehicle was stolen when he left the keys in it. And in this case, the vehicle was left running. We immediately conducted a BOLO, a be on the lookout for that vehicle. It was entered into NCIC, which is the National Crime and Information Center. And as a result, when that BOLO went out, Bridgewater PD observed that vehicle, stopped that vehicle, and placed an individual from that town under arrest for receiving stolen property, i.e. the items in the vehicle, as well as larceny of a motor vehicle. So we thank Bridgewater for that and the follow-up, and I'm sure the victim appreciates that as well. Lesson learned, we don't leave motor vehicles running and or your keys in the vehicle because these things do happen. Suspicious person. We received a call from a business in East Walpole. There was security. They were looking at security tape, and they viewed a person who was climbing over the trailer and over a fence near that area. It turns out we did have officers go down there. It ended up being a truck driver who was dropping off a trailer down there and made a strange entry. But anyways, it panned out, and there was nothing. Turns out that it was okay. A well-being check, Officer Crown checked on an individual. We got a report of somebody that appeared to be sweaty, lethargic, a person in a motor vehicle. Similarly, sometimes this could, we're thinking it's overdose or something like that. When we got to that location, that vehicle was GOA as well as the person, so we never were able to follow up with that one. An arrest after a motor vehicle stop is arrest of a motor vehicle stop on Common Street. An individual from Brockton was arrested. Found out they were staying in Walpole. They were driving, operating after a suspension and failing to yield, and they were later able to post bail. That was Officer Moriarty's report. And based on some other past issues, that weighed into Officer Moriarty's decision to arrest in that case. A crash, motor vehicle crash on Route 1 and Coney Street. All units responded. There was an injured person there who was transported, so this is a crash with injuries by Walpole Fire Department. Officer Crown conducted that investigation. I put this one in there just because that is one of our high crash areas, and to put out that you should always be careful in that intersection, Route 1 and Coney. It's been one of the high crash intersections in the state. It's within the top 200 worst in the state. Usually makes that list. Not a great list, but just always use caution there, as well as all the Route 1 intersections, 1 and 27 as well. Disturbance. This was in East Walpole. Report of a violation of a restraining order. Person was who had a restraining order drove past a house, and as a result, an individual was ultimately arrested for that. A disturbance. Caller reported a disturbance in a motor vehicle. This was on Main Street. We did find 2 individuals. They were having a loud argument over money, and as a result, the peace was restored and everything was okay. There was no further incident there. Suspicious activity. Caller reports a vehicle in a parking lot up on Route 1. There's an occupant who they believed has an open container, and they appeared to be snorting something. Patrolman Moriarty responded. However, by the time we got there, that vehicle was gone on arrival. And this obviously is concerning because typically if they're snorting something, it could have been heroin or fentanyl, and then driving a motor vehicle, and that vehicle did drive away. So we weren't able to catch up with it. On December 17th, suspicious activity. Caller reported an individual was asking people for money in a parking lot up on Route 1. Officer Moriarty checked on this individual. That individual is also gone on arrival. Shoplifting. Coles was reporting an individual was detained up there. An individual from Norwood was arrested for shoplifting due to their history. And as a result of the items that were taken, the officer's discretion led him to make an arrest on that one. Larceny. Individual from Sector 1, which is basically East Walpole. A cell phone shipped from Sprint was stolen in another town. They actually shipped this phone to somebody else and it was stolen. Usually, lately we've been getting the ones where they've been delivered to Walpole and have been getting stolen. And as a result, that is under investigation. A past sexual assault report. This is, as when I say past, it means that it happened at some period of time in the past, and as a result, there is an investigation. Officer O'Connor and Crown assisted the victim with the initial report. There's also going to be some follow-up with our detectives in Dedham PD as well. Car seat installations. Officer Haber conducted several car seat installations. I put those in there just to remind people that we do those when people come home from the hospital with a new baby. And you want to make sure, or even if it's an older baby, you want to make sure that car seat is in there correctly. Officer Haber can assist with that. You just have to call the station and make an appointment with him, and he can help out, make sure the seat's in there and properly installed. Shoplifting. Walmart reports 2 individuals in custody for shoplifting. Turns out Officer Beeberman showed up and he summoned 2 individuals from Norwood. One individual was from Norwood, one individual was from Shrewsbury, and as a result, one individual was also charged with possession of a Class B substance as well, i.e. cocaine. On December 18th, B&E breaking in and entering to a motor vehicle on Route 1. Officer Giblin responded. There was a female that claimed she had some expensive items that were stolen out of the back seat, and as a result, Officer Giblin is looking into that one, and he's been able to get some video surveillance as well. Parking ban. Officers issued several parking ban warnings to a bunch of cars in and around town on December 18th. As a reminder, I put that one in there just to let you know that we do have a parking ban on all streets in Walpole public ways at this time of year and in the wintertime up and until March. So, if you leave your vehicle on the street, you could be cited for that. So please, keep your vehicles off the road, keep it clear, so in case it does snow and we have to get the plows in there, it turns out to be a big problem when that happens. Harassment. Individual reports that they're being harassed by an individual. There is an ongoing investigation with this, but as I mentioned before, with harassment prevention orders, when there's no family relationship or a closer relationship than that, if there's 3 incidents that are documented where somebody's continuously harassing somebody, you can apply for what's called a harassment prevention order, and as we can help get that through the court. And if it's similar to a restraining order, and this case did not rise to that level yet, but I figured I would mention that. Disturbance on a Route 1 location. 2 individuals involved in a disturbance. People believed that it was going to turn into a fight. However, when we got there, it was a verbal argument that was broken up by people who were passing by. A past assault. We also got a report of a person being assaulted at another Route 1 gym. There was no further issue at this time. and there's no charges at this time, just as it is right now. Larceny, an individual reports on Main Street that they had a package delivered and it was stolen. This also reported that this was the second time that happened and didn't report it the first time. And as I said last week, where we had multiple packages stolen, try and make other arrangements other than just having the delivery company leave these items on your doorstep or on the stoop, because there are people out there that will take advantage of that. Try and have it delivered to work where you are, or set up certain times, or maybe even a neighbor, somebody that you know that can grab it for you. And, you know, it's really unfortunate that we even have to say that, but this time of year, unfortunately, you know, that it happens. And when these packages get delivered, people will, for whatever reason, just go up and steal it off the steps. December 19th, the disturbance was Route 1 location. There was a female customer giving a clerk a very difficult time. Officer Murphy gets there, and that individual was gone on arrival. And last but not least, there was a summons. Another individual from Walpole was summoned by Officer Murphy for unlicensed operation of a motor vehicle. So we had to end with that. We had a bunch of them last week and a couple this week. But anyways, he decided to summons that individual in for that. So that is it for December 19th, 2017. And we will not be filming Walpole 5-0 next week, as it's the holiday week. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday and a Happy New Year. And I will see you in 2018. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.